My name is James Peck, Managing Director of PX Farms, which was established in 2003 as an agribusiness, predominantly in the arable combinable crop world, which has now gone into crop storage and bulk haulage. The whole point of what we try to do is to create premium, and by creating premium we're able to then give that to our customers and the people in which we farm for, by being able to seize opportunities which normally you wouldn't be able to do. And we found that with scale, opportunities have come forward, which has been a great advantage. Controlled traffic farming is what I researched on my Nuffield, and I went around the world for just over 6 months and came back with the concept to introduce it to the UK in a commercial sense. And we've now done that, and we've got our farm 100% on controlled traffic farming, and we're able to map every field so that everything effectively is run on a 12-metre system. The drive behind that was to increase yield effectively by 18% with exactly the same input, which is, one for a better word, pure profit. What's quite interesting for me is actually looking at my business is that actually we've got 3 main parts, which is the storage and the haulage and the farming. Interestingly, they actually all work together really well and they complement each other. And that has been part of our success, is that as the farms have got larger, we were able to haul the produce with the amount of lorries we've got, plus we've been able to store it. And we've been able to then react to different markets, whether there's a premium at harvest or a premium later in the year, we're able to store according to what the end user needs. We've now started to build up some really good rapport with end users and with different companies that we now haul for and store, and actually we're getting some very successful partnerships. We're processing 25,000 tonnes of fertiliser for a power station. We also got a contract with British Sugar for just over 100,000 tonnes of cutting sugar beet back to the factory. We store 80,000 Heston bales. A new agreement we've just entered into, which is quite exciting, is we're having potatoes grown on our land, which is Bartlett's Rooster potatoes, which you see advertised on the television. And we're also storing about 2,000 tonnes for them. We have a grain storage operation of 55,000 tonnes, hoping to expand up to 75. The grain dryer, which has monitoring software on it to actually be able to work within 0.001%, which is incredibly accurate, was from probes that between myself and ZTech, whilst I was on my Nuffield scholarship, we came across that we used in the cement industry for powder. By building a program that we then were able to import into the grain dryer, which was a pretty rough system before, and it was plus or minus 0.5%, we are now able to accurately dry and minimise weight loss. Weight loss doesn't seem a great problem, but when you start to store 55,000 tonnes, and if you were to dry all of that and you were to have perhaps 0.5%, and then you times that by £150 a tonne, that's a huge amount of money. Moving forward in agriculture, one of the challenges I believe that will come about is the lack of that particularly skilled labour. Once you start to get bigger machinery and you start to increase in scale and you're starting to work over a much larger area, the type of individuals you need to employ are very different to what my father would have employed or my grandfather. You've got the technology now, the satellite steering systems, then you're asking those individuals to jump out of the cab and suddenly start welding and manufacturing. They have to be highly motivated and skilled. Now, generally speaking, these people aren't ready-made, so we're putting a lot of people on training courses, trying to encourage them and to help them. And we're actually getting some really good results. And I'm really proud, and I think that's probably the biggest asset within my business, and has been from the beginning, is the people that work for me.
I think you've got to put yourself out there and be willing to do whatever you can to gain as much experience as you can, so the best you can be. There's certainly a future here, and he'll always provide what he can for you. James will, he'll always look after you.
I think we are really lucky that the team we've pulled together do really gel. Everybody gets on a personal level as well as a business level, and that just makes it an enjoyable place to work. Each year brings a new challenge, but if you're working with people that really gel, it makes it so much easier.
We're a sort of caring company, and I think that comes across. If you enjoy what you're doing, it comes across in the work that you've done. So the work's generally tidier and better, to a better quality as well, which I think that's a good thing to bring to a company.
We're right and lucky to be working in a place like this. So all the good stuff, all the good machinery, good kit,
The way that the teams work together, the fact is that if you give them the right equipment and the right setup and clear guidelines of how the PX way, nice and clean and as efficient as possible, you rely on those people. Because we've got that teamwork, once you've set it up correctly, it seems to flow through. James is always on hand to sort out any hiccups, weather or breakdowns or other problems that might occur. But you also get a system, so it just flows through. Makes it look easy, but there's a lot of planning that goes in beforehand.
Since doing my Nuffield scholarship, and I've been in Australia where they'll drive 8 hours to go to their next farm, I suddenly realised that going 25, 30 miles away actually is only a logistical problem. And once you get your mind around that, actually distance isn't really that big a barrier. I found that actually if we move everybody in one go to different locations and they all work together as a team, and then we complete the task there, and then we clear up behind ourselves, make sure everything's spotless and move to the next, actually that works really efficiently because people get into a rhythm. Since increasing in scale, actually we've become more efficient and we've become better at what we do, and we're able to deliver more back to the people in which we farm for. We found we've been able to employ more people, more technical people, and that has then obviously increased yields and has increased the efficiency of our farming. We aspire mostly is transparency and to be able to produce accurate records from weighbridge tickets through to monitoring software and telematics.
James obviously has got the farming know-how. It's much easier for us as a bigger business to learn it once and then be able to bring it over a group of farms. I don't know how standalone farms actually keep up with all the red tape and the legislation that's now required. We've got the know-how, it's a one-stop shop, and we can go all the way through and also understand what effect it has.
We don't shy away from new technology. In fact, I would suggest we embrace change, which is quite unusual, but the business is constantly evolving. We've recently installed solar. It was the first trackers to be installed in the UK, which I found on my Nuffield when I was in America. We've since now put in another system which is statics, not as efficient, but actually since the reduction in tariffs, the cost of that installation is dramatically reduced, so the payback period is 9 years. It's important to make sure that we always have a financial case for what we're doing, because we never want to be in a position where we're unable to react to a new opportunity purely because we're constantly tied up in cash. We've got the fertiliser, which we started doing this last year, and that's fertiliser we bring back from a power station which is producing electricity by burning chicken manure. We then store that and then we process that to go onto farmland. It's a very good fertiliser which can increase the basics, which is phosphate and potash, and at a fraction of the cost of what a bagged fertiliser would cost farmers.
Although we have the team in place, it is very, very important that James is the point of contact for all of our customers. After all, he is the managing director and it is his business, and obviously has to delegate because of the size of the operation, but he will always be the man that you can call.
Whoever we work for, they can ring me at any time and feel that however small or big the difficulty or the problem is, that they have the confidence that I will address it and I will react quickly, and I'm a people person and I will come and see them personally. Farming's changing, and I use the word agribusiness as opposed to farming, purely because actually we're trying to build something more than just a farm. When I had one child, I said I hadn't got a succession problem. Now I have two, there is, which drives me and keeps me working, but I love what I do. I've always been fanatical about farming. It drives me. I jump out of bed in the morning and I just really enjoy what I do, and I enjoy looking after people who we farm for.